back to the KingCast, presented by the King Economics Division of the Social Sciences Department, Season 6, Episode 6. With you, as always, my co-host Jack Zipper and Griffin Joo. Good morning. We have a guest host today, another one 2 weeks in a row, Katie Ruhe from my international economics class. Katie, welcome to the program. Great to see you as always. Our next KingCast is not until January 8th. Remember, Mondays and Fridays, if we're off, we don't record. So we have a few weeks off. Hot topics today: the EU hits the brakes on AI. Consumers are shopping for Hanukkah and Christmas, and the University of Michigan says our collective sentiment is better. Katie, you find a very interesting topic today: AI regulation out of the European Union. I'm not a fan of AI. I think it should be regulated and controlled in a very obvious way. And by the way, they have to compensate people for the intellectual property they're stealing. But Katie, there's a decision in the EU to corral AI a little bit. Tell us about the regulations that were put in place in the EU.
In recent news, the European Union has made steps towards significant regulation of artificial intelligence technology. On this past Friday, December 8th, European lawmakers have agreed on the implementation of the Artificial Intelligence Act, one of the world's first attempts to limit the use of rapidly evolving technology that has wide-ranging societal and economic implications. This act aims to reconstruct AI's transparency requirements, force makers of AI systems to disclose more about the data and used to create their programs, and restrict the use of facial recognition software. The discussion of AI has been a major concern for the European Union after seeing the effects ChatGPT has had on society. In July of this summer, the EU passed 2 laws that set out new competition and online content rules. These laws brought attention to global superpowers and have caused all nations to take a step back to understand the positive and negative effects of artificial intelligence. Along with the EU, the Biden administration has recently issued an executive order that requires companies to report about their systems that could aid countries or terrorists to make weapons of mass destruction. Many high-level officials have also been targets of deepfakes, which are very realistic AI-generated audio and video clips that aim to smear reputations, spread fake news, and commit fraud. The AI industry is currently estimated at around $2 trillion, so everyone is definitely watching very carefully to see how effective these restrictions will actually be.
Great report, Katie. I just wonder, though, how would you describe the widespread reaction to this act? Is it getting pushback? Is it being accepted?
Yeah, that's very important. The act quickly faced criticism over this weekend from both consumer and industry groups. The European Consumer Organization argued that these rules are under-regulated and would cause an over-reliance on companies to self-regulate. Many tech lobby groups argue that these new rules would be expensive for AI companies to comply with and would risk putting Europe at a disadvantage in a time where AI is predicted to reshape the global economy. During the Transport, Telecommunications, and Energy Council held this weekend, France's digital minister, Jean Barrot, argued that technological dominance precedes economic and political dominance. These reactions definitely help to show the difficulty of protecting domestic industry in times where technology is impeding on a stable economy and workforce.
All right, so AI is a big deal. And this is something that's very common with startup technology. Think AI, think ChatGPT, think driverless cars, think drone deliveries for food and things. Lots of wealthy people, lots of connected people put lots of money in these technologies, and they expect to get regulatory approval from the political leaders around the country and the world because they're so powerful, because they've invested so much money. But here's an example where I'm not sure we should move too far, too fast. Jack, it's that time of year. Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, Kwanzaa coming up in January. People are shopping. What's going on out there in the shopping world?
Thanks, Mr. Roche. With Christmas less than 2 weeks away and Hanukkah already upon us, it's surprising that retail spending predictions are still so cautious because the numbers are in and Americans are ready to spend. The total amount of Americans estimate they'll spend on holiday gifts this year averages $975 in Gallup's final 2023 holiday spending poll taken in November. This exceeds consumers' holiday spending estimate from a year ago by more than $100 and is the highest in Gallup's November measures historically since 1999. Higher income shoppers are driving the increase driven by the wealth effect and high levels of savings built up during and after the pandemic. Consumer spending overall remains high, supported by a solid labor market and record levels of credit card debt. The increase could also reflect consumer interest in finding good deals that kicked off ahead of Black Friday. Online sales on Black Friday reached record levels as U.S. shoppers spent $9.8 billion an increase of 7.5% from last year, according to Adobe Analytics.
Jack, any hot products out there consumers are really focused on? There's always something each year.
Yes, there is. Some of the top selling products on Amazon over the past few weeks have been cosmetics, carpet cleaners, and the card game Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. Of course, holiday mainstays like clothing, gift cards, toys, books, and video games remain at the top of people's shopping lists.
All right, I must be too old. Do you all know what this card game is?
You know, surprisingly enough, I've actually played Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
So have I in my own advisory.
Jack, what do you got?
I've played it in my own advisory as well.
All right, well, unusual name for sure. I don't know that. And $975. Now, I'm from a big family, and we put a cap on how much you can spend, right? I'm sure you've heard of this. All right, no one's spending more than $35 on a gift this year. So even though we'll do that, I won't get anywhere $975. I guess I'm a cheapskate. I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to increase my spending budget here. All right, enough of that stuff with the Christmas time and Hanukkah. Hanukkah's underway. Jack, happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
All right, Griff, you found some economic data for us. Last week, we had a bunch of data. One of them was the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. Showed some nice improvement. What do you have for us on sentiment around the country?
The release of the December University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index last week revealed sentiment among U.S. consumers jumped to 69.4, up from 61.3 for November, a level we haven't seen since 2011. This is the first increase in the index after 4 straight months of declines. While sentiment is still below what it was pre-COVID, consumer expectations regarding inflation are indicating consumers expect inflation rates to continue to fall. While inflation remains above the Federal Reserve's target of 2% annual rate in the medium term, the survey revealed consumer expectations for the coming year's inflation rate have fallen to 3.1% compared to 4.5% in November. This can be attributed to the falling prices of durable goods, as I spoke about last week, but the director of the survey, Joanne Su, said sentiment for these consumers appears to incorporate expectations that the elections will likely yield results favorable to the economy. 14% of respondents of the survey reported that the upcoming presidential election brightens their mood.
Griff, you mentioned last week durable good prices actually falling, so disinflation, good news there. What else might be contributing to this?
Yeah, another large factor in this high number is the relatively strong jobs report we received this week. As I'm sure you know, Mr. Roche, the November employment situation report released by the Department of Labor on Friday showed that non-farm payrolls expanded by 199,000 in November, better than the estimate for 190,000. Just as well, the U3 unemployment rate fell to 3.7%.
Labor market data continues to be strong, claims pegged at low levels, 70s, 60s. But still, good news in the labor market, which should keep sentiment high. And of course, as Jack indicated, consumer spending as well. All right, that's our hot topics. Always great, excellent topics this week. Thank you all for that analysis. Let's jump into King things, talk about our King community. Griff, what's going on in the school?
Yeah, last week was extremely busy for the community. To start off this Friday, we all got to hear an incredibly impactful and important King Talk presentation from the Jewish Students Affinity Group. They shared their knowledge on the current rise in anti-Semitism across the country and across the world. Other members also shared personal experiences with the rise of Jewish hate. They did an excellent job speaking and raising awareness to the topic, and I just want to say on behalf of our entire cast here that we are here for them as well. To transition, students in Model UN traveled to Brown University to compete in its simulation of the United Nations. 18 students represented King, making convincing arguments for their positions. And last week, students and faculty returned from their Student Diversity Leadership Conference in St. Louis. The conference focused on self-reflection, forming allies, and most importantly, building community. At SDLC, students learned to communicate effectively across cultures and speak on social justices, among other things. Finally, this past Friday, 8th grade students presented their READY projects. Standing for Research, Experience, Action, and Designed by You, these projects gave students an opportunity to showcase their wide range of interests throughout this semester-long project.
All right, always great things going on at the King community. Jack, how about some sports?
Last week was a pretty busy week for King Sports, opening with the King hockey team taking on GCDS in their opening FAA game of the season. They were down 2 goals in the third period, but after tying it, it was Ben Bradley on the power play to win it in the dying seconds for King. A strong win for them to open the season. Freshman Theo Mantle was also a main contributor with 2 assists and a goal to tie it. They also took on Kingswood Oxford on Saturday, winning 5-3. So a great week for our hockey team. The King boys basketball team had a dominant 79-57 win over Brunswick on Tuesday, with Adrian Tromboli again leading the way in scoring. Unfortunately, they did take a hard loss against Canterbury on Friday. In other news, King girls basketball also had to take a loss against Masters. Lena Wyatt led the way for the Vikings with 13 points, keeping it competitive until the end.
All right, we always have at least one solid team every season. Looks like basketball's looking pretty good, Griff. You feeling good about basketball?
Yeah, it's looking to be a good season, so we have a good team.
Yep, got another good hockey team. So, all right, King Sports, King Community, let's go ahead and jump into our fun segment, the lunch reviews. As always, before we talk about lunch, a big thanks to our team that feeds us every day, led by Junior and Eduardo. They do a great job for us. We're a friendly face, and we really appreciate it. We have our rating scales of 0 to 5 Viking helmets. And by the way, Ray Nelson from the science department gets credit for the Viking helmet scale, his suggestion, and in fact, the idea of bringing lunch reviews onto the KingCast. Thank you, Ray. We're having fun with this. He and I talk food all the time during lunch, and this is how it started to become something for the KingCast. On Monday, we had penne marinara with Parmesan herb garlic bread with a chicken noodle soup. I ate them both. I'll give them both a 5. The penne was cooked perfectly. Love the sauce. Chicken soup was great. Katie?
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't have the pasta, but I had the garlic bread, and I really liked it.
Any soup for you?
No.
No soup for you. Okay. Griff, what'd you think of Monday's lunch?
Yeah, I would say this was pretty solid overall. Like you said, the penne was cooked really well, and the garlic bread was always good. I didn't have the soup, but overall, I'd give this a 4 out of 5 Viking helmets.
Jack, do you have it?
I didn't have the soup, but I did have the penne marinara. I didn't have the garlic bread. It wasn't good. Wasn't bad. 3 Viking helmets out of 5.
It's hard to get too excited about pasta, but I feel like a little al dente pasta, and that's what they had. Jack, Tuesday?
So on Tuesday, we had beef tacos with rice pilaf with a vegetable lentil soup. I thought the beef tacos were pretty good, and the rice pilaf was great. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 Viking helmets.
All right. I did not have the tacos. I did have the rice. Wonderful. Not a great day for lunch for me, so can't really vote on this one. What do you have, Katie?
I personally didn't have either. I went with a panini, but I heard it was pretty good.
Okay. Griff?
Yeah, I had the beef tacos. Like Jack said, beef tacos were good. Rice pilaf was great. I'll give this a 4 out of 5 as well.
Okay. How about Wednesday, Griff?
Yeah, Wednesday we had the maple baked ham with sweet potatoes and pasta fagioli soup. I did not have the ham. I had my good old chicken panini. Get some spicy mayo and cheese. So can't really rate this.
I did not go for the ham either. I did go for the hack, my BLT, buy the bacon in the morning, get the bread and the lettuce and tomato at lunch. Wonderful BLT. All King food, so I'll give it a 10 out of 5 Viking helmets, the BLT I made. Jack?
Yeah, so I did have the maple baked ham. I didn't have the sweet potatoes. It was all right. Again, I'll just give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, Katie?
I only had the sweet potatoes, but they were very good. I'd give them a 5 out of 5.
Oh, excellent. Now, didn't the sweet potatoes have marshmallows in them?
I think so, if I remember.
Yeah. Well, as I approached the hotline, I got very excited. I thought there was rice on the hot plate that wasn't expected. And as I approached, I realized it was marshmallows and sweet potatoes. Cannot possibly put that in my mouth. Too many texture issues there. All right, Katie, how about Thursday?
So on Thursday, there was a grilled cheese with bacon and salt and pepper chips with a cream of soup tomato. I actually had all of these, and I thought it's one of the best lunches, so I'd also give it a 5 out of 5.
Good, strong. Jack?
Yeah, so I'm not a big grilled cheese guy, so I just brought lunch from home today, so I can't really rate it.
Good thing, Griff.
Thursday was Affinity Group's day, so Miss Chow actually made homemade fried rice for the AAPI Affinity Group.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm jealous. The vile cheese. No cheese for me. You people with the cheese. Enough with the cheese. I went with Burger King. I had the Whopper, no cheese, no tomato, fries, and a Coke. Wonderful. And then on Friday, we had I think the most popular dish of the week, the sweet and sour chicken with jasmine rice and hot and sour soup. Jack, I'm sorry. I got to go 7 out of 5 Viking helmets for this. How about you, Katie?
I personally didn't have either. I went with a panini again.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the classic King meal, 5 out of 5 Viking helmets. Not even a competition.
Griff?
Yeah, I agree with Jack. Probably my favorite King meal, and I'll give this a 6 out of 5.
Oh, someone's taking advantage
breaking
of
the
my
scale.
friend over the scale helmets. All right, Jack, next week.
So on Monday, we have chicken pot pie with buttered egg noodles with a creamy butternut squash soup.
On Tuesday, we have 5-spice pork loin with couscous pilaf and a vegetable minestrone soup.
On Wednesday, we have potato sausage, breakfast burrito with hash browns and with a French onion soup.
On Thursday, old-fashioned meatloaf with mashed potatoes with a tomato chipotle lime soup. Jack?
And on Friday, it's a half day, no lunch.
No lunch for you guys. The potato sausage maybe gets my attention, and the meatloaf gets my attention. Anyone else? Something that gets your attention for the week?
Yeah, potato sausage, the breakfast burrito. That seems pretty good. The meatloaf, I'm not a big meatloaf guy, but I'll eat it. But otherwise, I think I'll go with a panini this week.
There does seem to be a sentiment. Meatloaf outside the home is always a little bit risky. That seems to be a common sentiment amongst meatloaf. I'm going to give it a try. Anything stand out for you, Jack?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, Kate.
Full disclosure.
Katie, what do you think?
I would say the chicken pot pie seems pretty good, and the breakfast burritos.
Breakfast burrito, okay. Let's go ahead and check in on the poll, our KingCast poll, our third one. We had 109 responses, so an excellent sample size. The most popular lunch entree for the week was a sweet and sour chicken on Friday, no surprise, followed by the beef tacos on Tuesdays and grilled cheese and bacon on Thursday. The most popular soup was the cream of tomato on Thursday, followed by the chicken noodle on Monday and the pasta fagioli on Wednesday. And we also had 3 additional poll questions this week, a little fun we thought we'd have. Jack, what was our first question?
If you did not have the entree, what did you go for? 45% went for the deli sandwich bar, 28% for the salad bar, 14% went for the pasta bar, followed by went off campus and brought something from home.
Katie, second question?
It was, if you went off campus, what did you choose? And by far, Chipotle won, followed with a slice of pizza.
Yeah, I'll have to get a little bit more specific next time. Maybe I'll put a list of, what do you think? How many places are there around us to go out? 10? 7?
Like 7 to 10.
Yeah, I might. Maybe next week I'll put just the actual list of the place to be a little bit more precise details there. Griffin, third question?
Yeah, the third question came to us thanks to Rachel Ackley from the history department, and it was, if you could only eat rice, bread, or potatoes for the rest of your life, which would you choose? 40% choosing bread, 33.3% chose rice, and 26.7% chose potatoes.
All right. Now, did you all answer this poll question?
Yeah,
I went rice.
I chose bread.
Bread?
I chose rice.
Katie, rice?
Yes.
Okay, so 75% of us went rice. Anyway, fun question, and thanks to Miss Ackley. I'm sorry, Griff. I hope she doesn't mind you using her first name. I was thinking myself as reading that. Miss Ackley or Rachel, of course, I mean no disrespect. All right, let's get away from the fun stuff and get into the more serious stuff. Data, how's the U.S. economy performing? What is the impact on markets? And we start off with Friday. Griff, start us off.
Yeah, on Friday, the mother of all data points, the November Employment Situation Report, non-farm payrolls, 199,000 versus 150,000 on October. Average hourly earnings up 0.4% versus up 0.2% in October. Average work week, 34.4 hours versus 34.3 hours in October. The U3 unemployment rate, the narrowest measure, 3.7% versus 3.9% in October. And the U6 unemployment rate, the broadest measure, 7% versus 7.2% in October. And to round it off, the December University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, 69.4 versus 61.3 in November.
A lot of good data there for sure, even though the Fed continues to raise rates. One thing about average hourly earnings, year over year, 4%. So the Fed's going to still be looking to raise rates. And I believe they should. Markets are pricing that out, though, unfortunately, from my position. Jack, how about on Thursday?
So on Thursday, we had initial unemployment claims for the week ending December 2nd, 220,000 versus 219,000 in the prior week.
Still great data. Katie, Wednesday?
This past Wednesday, we had a bunch of data points out. One of the first was the MBA mortgage applications for the week ending December 2nd, up 2.8% versus 0.3% in the prior week. The November ADP non-farm employment change went down 103,000 versus 106,000 in October. The October trade balanced goods and services a deficit from $64.3 billion versus a deficit of $61.2 billion in September. Q3 non-farm productivity was up 5.2% versus 3.5% in quarter two. And quarter three unit labor costs down 1.2% versus up 2.6% in quarter two.
All right, more good data there. I mean, to the extent we thought we were moving towards recession, this data seems to be suggesting otherwise. ADP a little weak. It has been weak for a few months now. Trade balance, as always, we just keep getting crushed. I keep telling people, first $1 trillion yearly trade deficit in history coming for 2023. And great numbers. Non-farm productivity up and unit labor costs down. Happy days for corporations. All right, Griff, Tuesday?
Tuesday was November ISM non-manufacturing index 52.7 versus 51.8, where above 50 is expansionary.
And what happened for us on Monday, Jack?
On Monday, we had October factory orders down 3.6% versus up 2.3% in September.
Very volatile series factory orders, very expensive things we don't buy on a regular basis. So not unusual to see up, down, up, down, up, down. All right, let's check on the week. This week, December 11th, what's happening for data on Monday, Katie?
On Monday, we have no data.
Griff?
On Tuesday, we have the November Consumer Price Index as well as the November federal budget balance.
Jack?
On Wednesday, we have MBA mortgage applications for the week ending December 9th, the November Producer Price Index, the Federal Reserve interest rate decision. Markets' expectations are for the federal funds interest rate to remain unchanged.
All right, so that's an important data point for the week for sure. Again, markets already priced in no rate hike. We'll watch to see if the statement after the meeting is more hawkish than dovish. Katie, how about Thursday?
On Thursday, we have initial unemployment claims for the week ending December 9th, and then we also have November retail sales.
Okay, on Friday, December, New York Empire State Manufacturing Index, November capacity utilization, and November industrial production. The hot items for the week are CPI on Tuesday, the Fed interest rate decision on Wednesday. All eyes will be on that for sure. All right, let's check to see how markets reacted last week. Check the open to the close from Monday to Friday. Katie, start us off with stocks.
The S&P 500 opened the week at 4,552, had a high on Friday of 4,608, a low on Tuesday of 4,548, and closed near the highs on Friday at 4,604, up 52 points for the week, or up 1.1%.
Griff, bonds?
The benchmark 10-year U.S. Treasury bond opened the week at 4.23%, had a high on Friday of 4.26%, a low on Wednesday of 4.1%, and closed at 4.23%, unchanged on the week.
You know, these rates were just above 5% not that long ago. Remember, now we talk interest rates. So when interest rates are going down, bond prices are going up. When interest rates are going up, bond prices are going down. Jack, how about FX?
The U.S. dollar index opened the week at 103.75, had a high on Wednesday at 104.21, a low on Thursday of 103.37, and a close of 103.98, up 23 points for the week, or up 2.2%.
On commodities, the Dow Jones Commodities Index opened the week at 967.14, had a high on Monday of 968.97, a low on Wednesday at 943.85, and a close of 949.97, down 17 points in the week, or 1.8%, not driven by oil. Oil was a little bit bid now. OPEC plus, so OPEC plus Russia restricting output to boost prices. Higher stock prices on the week, interest rates unchanged, a stronger dollar, lower commodity prices. Those are not the right correlations usually we see between those four asset classes. I stay with my call. I'm still out of the money a little bit on stocks, about 50 points out on the S&P 500. I'm out by about a half a basis point on bonds, but sticking with sell rallies in stocks, sell rallies in bonds, buy dips in commodities, and buy dips in the dollar. Both of those things have been working for me. All right, let's finish up the show with our friendly reminders. Start us off, Griff.
Do your reading, do your homework.
Come to class prepared, use your blinker when making turns or switching lanes.
Stop signs mean stop, and no texting while driving.
Yes, I care for you all. I'm trying to protect you from killing yourself in your car. Always try to buy American. That's it for us. Join us again in 3 weeks. Tell your friends and family to listen to KingCast at kingschoolct.org. Academics, upper school, clubs, and activities. And we are out.